Looks like the clouds are lingering on today. No rain though, although as mentioned yesterday, a lot of places appreciated the rain just because of all the wildfires and so forth. And with that in mind, what did I read today? How about this one, where apparently there was a drone that was able to fly for several days using solar power, I suppose. I've heard of stuff like this before. It'll probably become more common too as time goes on. This one here says full-on spying. The Skydweller solar drone flies for nearly 3 days non-stop. The American startup Skydweller Aero has announced the successful testing of its solar drone, which spent nearly 3 days in flight without refueling. The device, with a wingspan larger than that of a Boeing 747, ran exclusively on solar power and batteries. In 2 consecutive flights, Skydweller, the world's largest solar-powered aircraft, flew for 73 and 74 hours using only solar power, the company said. Over the last 4 flights, it has logged a total of 222 hours in the air, demonstrating its endurance, reliability, and the promise of the technology. It says here the aircraft's capabilities are currently being evaluated by the Naval Air Warfare Center Aircraft Division. The U.S. Navy is evaluating the platform for long-endurance intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions in its Southern Command Area of Responsibility. These unmanned aircraft are becoming increasingly important to military operations. How it's made is important, I suppose, in terms of trying to keep the weight down and all that as well. And it says here the key to its autonomy is its lightweight design and propulsion system. The fuselage is made of carbon fiber and the wings, covered with 17,000 solar cells, are capable of generating up to 100 kilowatts of energy. And with that, their goal, according to this, is to have a drone that could fly indefinitely. For example, for 30 to 90 days or more, and with the ability to potentially carry payloads of up to 400 kilograms, according to this. Again, this will probably be really common in the future, but as of now, I guess, as they say, it's not really meant for like recreational or anything like that. I can imagine this being used for commercial applications as well. Although with things in the air and the talk about wildfire, apparently in Nova Scotia, as you guys know, there's all that talk about things like wildfires and so forth, and apparently there was a helicopter that crashed while fighting the fires. What's going on here, huh? This one says helicopter crashes fighting wildfire in Nova Scotia, pilot rescued and conscious. A pilot was rescued Friday after a helicopter with Nova Scotia's Department of Natural Resources crashed in shallow water while helping with firefighting efforts. Other firefighters in the area quickly reached the downed aircraft in Annapolis County, NS, and found the pilot conscious. The pilot was the sole person on board the aircraft, and he was talking to the other firefighters and taken for medical assessment, the release said. It makes me wonder what happened there. Was it going down to get water, for example, and then there was some kind of error? The Department of Natural Resources said it would not release the pilot's name out of respect for his privacy. Transport Canada has been informed about the incident, the department said. And interestingly enough, with all that talk again about Nova Scotia banning people from hiking and stuff in general, this seems to imply what a lot of people were kind of being cynical about on how the fires have been starting in a lot of places, apparently anyways. It says, Forest Protection Director Jim Rudderman said lightning can penetrate deep into the ground. The layers right down through the soil are very dry, he told Virtual Briefing. Lightning has a lot of power. It could dive into the ground and take some time to work its way back out again with fire. It might take a while to pop up. Rudderman said that's bad news for a province that was already dealing with 11 wildfires. I mean, that gets you to think overall with this situation too. Fortunately, the person was able to survive, but it makes you wonder what the real threats are in terms of wildfires and so forth, huh? Versus charging people, for example, $25,000 worth of fines just for literally walking in a woods or a trail and nothing's there. And like here, the talk about what are usually the types of threats that people see. And still, there was a lot of news about air-related stuff today for some reason. Here, apparently employees of Air Canada were going to go on strike, and you can imagine the chaos that is creating and will if it continues. But I guess the government here is stepping in and saying, nope, they're going to try to force everyone back, which in some ways is generating controversy too, I guess. The Canadian government on Saturday moved to end a strike by Air Canada cabin crew by asking a labor board to order binding arbitration, an action that the country's largest carrier had sought and which the striking flight attendants opposed. Thousands of Air Canada unionized flight attendants walked off the job over a wage contract dispute just before 1 a.m. EDT, forcing Air Canada to cancel all of its 700 daily flights. affecting more than 100,000 travelers who had to find alternative flights or stay put. Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu at a news conference said she had asked the Canada Industrial Relations Board to impose binding arbitration on both sides and order an immediate end to the strike. So you can see the announcement here.
Canadians have already sacrificed a lot in this uncertain economy, and this labour disruption is adding to their worries and financial burdens. As Minister of Labour, I have exercised my authorities under Section 107 of the Canadian Labour Code to direct the Canada Industrial Relations Board to order the parties to resume and continue their operations and duties in order to secure industrial peace and protect the interests of Canada, Canadians, and the economy.
So why this is generating some controversy is because some people are saying they should be able to go on strike and have them deal with it privately because it is a private company overall. But at the same time, I guess the argument is it's going to affect so many people, and some people would say it's justified to force them to do this in general. This is not like a situation where it's Canada Post, for example, going on strike, because that's completely different, where one's completely a government entity per se. Who's right and who's wrong in that regards, do you think? All right, see you guys later.